1 second while I get Facebook all connected up. Come on, internet. All right, Facebook is moving. Here we go. We're kicking off. Yeah, like cooking with fire. All right, good morning, everybody. So welcome to Tuesday, April 23rd's webinar. Today we're going to cover tech pay and reports. We're mostly going to emphasize the tech pay. It is kind of the largest that we have. We're going to make sure we'll throw this up. You know, we're going to see a lot of dollars getting thrown around, discussion of payroll, that sort of stuff. Remember, I am not telling you what to charge. I'm not telling you what to pay. I am just giving you examples of how it works inside of Mobile Tech RX. So we are going to bounce through both in the app and on the back office. The majority of this, you guys and gals that are doing the bookkeeping, you're going to really want to do this in the back office, probably on your computer a lot more than anything else. So just as a little word to the wise, let me see if this is going to just pop right in there right away, or if I'm going to have to change my screens around some. But we just go right into our back office portal, and we'll wait till my screen catches up. I got to work with a 20-second delay to know what you guys are seeing. Make sure that you're seeing everything that I'm seeing. All right, good. So we're coming into the back office portal, and we are going to work into tech pay and reports. Now, I know a lot of you, when you see this tech pay, you want to know, you see the invoice number, what's the difference between the invoice section with paid in full and the tech pay with paid and paid in full. So invoices, when you're in the invoice section, the invoices are just going to be that, the invoices. This is recording that you got paid from the client. When we are in tech pay and we are showing what has been paid, that means that is what we are paying either our subcontractor or our employee is in the tech pay. So invoices, you're recording whether you received payment on that invoice, and in tech pay, you're showing which invoices that your technicians billed money on and what you owe them on that invoice for what it is that they paid. So a little reminder, I do have this up. I've got question screens. Feel free to shoot me the questions as we go. We don't need to wait till the end. So, but let's jump right into it. So search is obviously search. When we are in tech pay, remember we are in our back office portal. We're going to tech pay, and search just allows you to search by either the client, the technician, invoice number. I'm not going to type those in because as you can see, as I've been doing these, we have ridiculously huge invoice numbers. So we get to set our date range. So we can do last week. We can sort by any one client. So even if you have a technician, you only want to pay them off of one client, all the invoices from that client were paid, you're only paying your techs, you can sort by that or by all. You can tailor it down through your techs. So if we do this John, Billy, Bob, and then the tech pay status shows which items that, you know, whether or not we've recorded they've been paid or unpaid in them previously. Now at the bottom of the list, obviously there's nothing here for this last week yet. And we have this shown 20 items and up to 100 items. Now, obviously I don't get to see anything. If we do all technicians, we should start seeing some stuff listed in. So by having that, the reason for that 20, 50, 100 is because if it was constantly 100 or showed all every single time, there's some of you people with 40, 50,000 invoices, it would take forever to load. So that is the reason for this. If you're not seeing, make sure that you shows 100 at a time. That's just what I kind of default to. So if we sort it out, we can do this year, we can do all time. Now, this screen is only for your records as to what you've paid your technicians. So let me move this over a little bit. We're going to download some stuff onto the screen here. So what we see right here is on this invoice, we'll just use the last three because my numbers are ridiculously long here. 160, MTRX was our tech, and he billed a total amount of $357.84. And here we can mark how much we're paying him, whether we paid it all. If it is in already paid full, it will be checked. As you can see right here on this 151, that technician has been paid all of the 110.25, so the blue checkbox is there. We should be able to just click that blue checkbox, and it will automatically put in the dollar amount. Or if we would like, we can type in the 378, and I put it in the wrong spot. There we go. 378, a little refresh of the page. If we need to see the invoice, or you have a question about that invoice, we can go right here in this invoice column, and we can just click on that. So that is going to download a copy of that invoice in a PDF. So let's pop that open here real quick. So now we can read the invoice. And I had to make a bunch of these to get this all prepped. For those of you that have been watching these webinars, this is the account that we had so many random stuff in that I had absolutely nothing in there to run TechPay. So I had to build this over the last couple of days. So I just threw in dollar amounts. So you can see this technician billed out $568. This one had a 10% discount, and there was 1% sales tax. So obviously their pay does not take into account tax in any way, shape, or form, but it does take into the subtotal and discount. So it really depends on how you have your tech set up here. Oh, I'm closing everything. Oh, I overopened that. Oh, well, man. Jeez. We really killed it here. All right, we're logging back in. I went way too far. My apologies for that. Amateur with the PDFs. So, okay. So we're right back in here into TechPay. So that's how we can view the invoice. If you have questions for what's on, just you click that invoice number. It is going to download that invoice right here. You see it in its PDF, and apparently I should have just clicked it like that, and you can view the PDF. Instead, I opened it on the web browser. I'll be honest, I didn't know you could do that. That was completely new. I'm learning with you. So let's remember, this page here is strictly for marking what you have paid your techs. So you can look at each one of these and see what it is that you owe that tech. But if you want to get that into further detail, then we're going to need the reports screen. So we can go into the report screen and we can do the tech pay. And then we can sort, again, we can sort by client or by technician. We were playing with MTRX Eric. And so we're going to run this report of all time. And this shows everything that he's produced on the graph. So when we want to, if we want to view that, we have the option to email this entire report. The center, the little Adobe signal, is we're going to download that PDF, or we can print it out. For me, we're going to run report, then we're going to export it, and then we see that the report has popped up here on the screen. So now we can click in on this report, and here we can see every single one of the invoices for this MTRX Eric. We've got the date in which the invoice was made, the invoice number, who the client is, the invoice amount. Now that is the grand total of the invoice. The billed amount, Now, I know this causes a little bit of confusion, and for those of you who do the cash discount, there is a bug on this. Let me warn you, that really tripped us up while I was prepping for this. And we got it figured out. They should probably, I don't know if the fix was released yet this morning on that. I think it's being done on our end and should be in there. But the billed amount will be what the technician billed minus any discounts given to that client. So regardless of whether you pay your tech based upon gross or if you paid your tech based upon net, it doesn't matter. The billed amount right here, let's get our little favorite arrow up here. This billed amount here is the amount that this technician billed personally. So if they split the ticket, say it was a $1,000 ticket, it was split between two technicians, this is only going to read $500 because that's all that technician would have billed into that amount. So I hope that does kind of help understand what the billed amount is. The payable amount is what their commission rate is, and whether or not you've paid them, like here on this $14 job, the technician was paid out, the balance is what is left over. So as far as, oh, man, we're going to poke those puppies up everywhere. So if we are in here in the tech pay, so that's just run the report. If we say we paid this tech $200, then we have that balance left over. So here we did that right here on the MTX Eric or MTRX Eric. So now if we run that very same report, and then we come down, we're going to export it so that we have this PDF to look at and open that report number 2. Oh, that was, oh. I ran a sales report. My apologies. Holy cow, I'm getting all sorts of pop-ups. All right, let's do that again. That's awesome. Wow, nothing like a live show. So we ran a sales report. All right, this time we're going to run a report on tech pay for MTRX Eric. We showed that we paid him half. We're going to go ahead. We're going to download that, that file. All right, now let's open up the PDF again. So here we can see that, man, what was that? I forgot to pay attention to which one of those PDFs, 160. Right here. We can see that we owe him still $157.84 on that. So Infinity, apparently I'll have to notify them. Yesterday that was reading actually properly. And I know they were making some changes in there, making sure that that dollar discount bug is wiped out. So apparently they're still doing some work. So that would show the total billed amount right through this column here. Okay, so I'm not seeing any questions or comments pop up. Just a few of you hitting some random likes and a couple angry symbols. But if you do have any questions, feel free to pop them in. But that is how you're running your tech pay. So in your back office portal, you're running payroll using the two screens. You're using the tech pay and you're using the reports. So the reports, you can run that whole pay for your pay period for your technician, download that onto your desktop, and then once you've paid each of those out, that's when you can come in here and you can mark if you've paid them in full on one. Oh, apparently I'm, what do we need? All right, fine. I'll refresh the page. Show my pay. Then you're going to be able to mark in here that you have marked them paid and got that in the amount paid. And if you do mark them partial, when you run that pay report, you're going to get that show of a partial payment. So let's pop into the app really quick and let's show how we can do this within the app. So, oh, let's hope everything's working. Come on, baby. I trust this computer. There we go. Look at that. All right. So, again, I'm doing this on my tablet because if you think my computer gets lots of pop-ups, you should see my phone. And I would do this on Android, except Zoom will not let me put my Android tablet on the screen. But Apple, Android, phone, computer, this is all going to be the same process. So we bring up our left side menu. And I want to remind you guys, you can bring that left side menu up one of two ways. You can hit the hamburger, or you can just slide that screen. And when we go over into invoices, I'll show you a little bit more on that. So we are in reports here in the app. We're going to go into Tech Pay. And then again, we can sort by the time range. We can sort by clients. And we can sort by technicians. So let's unselect all and let's go back to this MTRX Eric. And then we can, again, we can say that all of the invoices that he hasn't been paid on, if we only want to see the ones that we haven't paid him on, we can run that report. And then now we can do the print preview right here and see that very same report. So this shows that we haven't paid on each of these and that we owe some money on all of these. And the reason for that ability to run this paid is it's always popped up. Hey, did I pay somebody on that invoice? And by marking that in the back office portal, here you can see which ones that you have paid them all out on for a given time frame. So even if you don't remember what the date was on the invoice that they did, anything like that, you can run that as an all time, which is how I would do it, and then find that by the invoice number, or you should be able to type in the invoice number, the client number, anything along those lines. All right. Got a flashing light on my computer and I don't know I don't know what it means. So I'll figure that out as we end. So let's take a look. We can't set any pay onto an estimate. We can only set that pay here into work orders and into invoice. So if we take a look here on this work order, we're showing that the dollars have been not assigned. So this is how much money is on this work order and the money has not been assigned. So we're going to click on that work order and we are going to go over here and we're going to click on the blue assign button. Now, this is going to bring up a list of all of your active technicians, whether they are a subcontractor or an employee. So if you have inactive subs, you're not going to see their name in this list. Only the ones that are active will you see in this list. So whoever we assign this to is who is going to be recorded as a repaired by tech when it goes into invoice, regardless of who puts it into invoice. Okay, so in this case, let's split this between the two Johns, Billy Bob and Renstrom, and then we're going to say done, and this is going to pop up the screen. And here we can break those all the way down. Here we can do it even by how much was on each fender if we choose to, or we can split it up by quarters, thirds, halves. I'm going to hit cancel, and just for the sake of this and speed, I'm going to hit split even. That's going to divide the money up between all of the techs that were assigned to that. If we needed to assign another technician and get that money to them, we can hit that plus in that lower right corner. And here, even if we click all of these technicians and we split it evenly, then we can hit the assign. Now, I'm going to skip. We don't need to talk about everything that's in here, but we're going to come down here and we're just going to invoice this. So now we have recorded it. We can edit the assigned dollars just the same way that we assign them. Right in here, let me get that little arrow off of there. So if we need to make that change, but this is who is now been assigned the money for this repair and is now recorded as a repaired by technician, even though I'm the one that moved it over from work order to invoice. All right. But we still aren't recording this as pay until this invoice has been closed. So those invoices that I showed you in the back office are only closed invoices. So we need to come down here and press this closed invoice. And now we see this box on this lower right-hand side now says Tech Pay. So here we can pop into the Tech Pay and we can see what each of the technicians were. We got just by their initials, who they were, and we can scroll through those and we can see each of their techs, each of the individual technicians pay. Now, down here, we can see what each tech's pay rate was set at, and I think as I was prepping this, I just ran everybody at 70%. Okay, so the original John character, he gets 50% of the gross. All right, so gross is this assigned total gross here, and then the discount when it gets taken into effect. So because each of these are getting paid off of, even if they're getting paid off of net or gross, here he's paid off of net. So the pay off of net would be off of this figure here after the discount. If there was a discount applied, whether it be a % or a dollar discount, it comes off right there. Now, for any reason, if there needs to be any changes made, you can click that green box and override the system's math. If you do that and you did not mean to, you can just hit this reset in this upper corner over here and say yes, and it will reset everybody back to your default settings. So there was a little bug to my understanding. It was taken care of before I prepped for this, but right after this last update that it wasn't taken into net. If you had the employees set at net, it was still figuring off of the gross. And we corrected that really fast. That was on our back end, but the app wasn't showing. And the reset for that was the reset button. Once you said yes and hit done, it reset the pay back to that net. So for those of you, if you have any questions about that, or that did occur to you and you weren't sure, just hit that reset button. It will reconfigure that pay. The only way you can change the payment as a whole would be to reopen that invoice. So let's go back into the work order screen. Now I'm going to show you, instead of having to use that back arrow, I'm just going to slide that screen right over and go back to work orders. So when you guys are in an open invoice and you're moving lots of work orders into an open invoice, if you don't want to use that back arrow, just slide the whole screen to the right. So now this time, instead of going into assign the money, if it's just the technician working in the field, I'm just going to go ahead and invoice it. And now the money has been assigned to me. And then when I close that, then we can record that tech pay. So as we do that, let me drop this out, stop this share. All right. Brittany, will it push those invoices through to the QuickBooks bills? No, until you send them to QuickBooks will it actually send those to QuickBooks. So you'll have to, in fact, I don't think TechPay even goes through QuickBooks whatsoever. I think that's something you have to manually record. I'll have to get with Eric. I don't think QuickBooks allows that to go through. I am far from the QuickBooks expert, but when I get done with this, I will send a note to Eric and I will post the answer on this video on the Facebook feed. So I will double check that whether it is even possible or not possible. All right, so to force this to update to see our newest screens, we need to click off and then we can click back. And here's what it looks like when you see that invoice with all of those different texts on it. Oh, not that one. So, and you can see we do have a pay setup difference. So they should be all split, but this one guy, he billed a little bit less. That's always the story of my life. But here we can see that each of the texts, how much each of them billed, and what their pay is. So I really hope this kind of answers a lot of questions about tech pay, what it is, how it functions. You can see those reports in that tech pay, both in the app and right here in the back office. Now, as far as the rest of your reports, so your sales reports, again, we can run the clients, we can do them all time. For those of you dealing with multiple currencies, especially as more and more currencies get added, then we can run those reports and we can see those sales reports. Here I'm running this, this particular account has only been created as long as I've been doing these webinars. So when we do that, let me clean up a couple of these here before I get 8,000 of them on my screen. So we click the run report after we've set in our date, our client, our currency, run report, and then we choose the manner in which we want to export it. If we want to email it to somebody, if we want to just view it, we click the PDF icon, and that is just going to download it right here onto the screen. So here's everything that has ever been done as a sales in the help@mobiletechrx.com account, which, by the way, if you need help, please email help@mobiletechrx.com. So if you need to, you can cross-reference sales, pay, and we are working on some other reporting functionality that's going to be even bigger and more thorough. But remember, pick your date, pick your client. If you're in the US, leave it as the US dollars. Click the run report and then export. Same when you are up here into TechPay. Pick your date, your client, your technician, and their pay status. Run report. So I think this should just default. If I do this, this should show us every single technician in here. So we're going to run it. We're going to click the PDF. It is going to download the PDF report, and then we can view what is owed for each of our technicians. So in this particular case, I'm not paying any of these guys. So suckers. Well, I'm trying, Amanda. Thank you for that. I really hope it does help. I hope it really kind of clarifies how you can do it. The back office is really where we're designing this to run these reports and get a lot more thorough on these reports. So the service reports, remember, this will just run a report that tells you how much money you produce for every service. So for those of you with companies that do lots of service, and handle lots of different services, you can see they all light up as to which ones have been billed some money, how much money was billed for them for the time frame that you have selected. This is really useful for those of you with a retail shop. We've added this, and it was kind of done with that sort of in mind, as it gives you a chance to find out what you've done for hail, for door dents, for large dents, and in your R&I. For a hail company only, this was an eye-opener for me running this report for my hail company last season and seeing how much money my wife produced for our company just doing R&Is. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty neat. A lot of fun report. So timeline reporting. Now this is something that is new. And here's what timeline reporting is designed to do, is to give you an idea of how long the process from estimate to work order to invoice into closed invoice is taking. So if we run a timeline of this month, we'll say, we're going to do, for our retail customer, Then I'm going to click the run report, and then I'm going to export. And that's, I know there was a bug on this. This is extremely new. So here's what this shows. This is each of the vehicles that was done under the retail customer, and it shows the status as complete. And here you can see that it's in an invoice. So this means it's in an open invoice, and complete means it's gone into a closed invoice. That invoice has been closed. So here you can see it sat for 363 hours in the estimate stage. It was in the work order stage for 1 hour. It was in an open invoice for 1 hour. This was yesterday as I was blowing them through trying to get prepped for today. So the reason for this reporting is for you guys that use mobile tech for large commercial jobs where you're estimating and you have 200 or 300 cars to estimate and send them all the way through. For you guys doing commercial hail gigs, mostly this is commercial hail gigs. For you guys that are doing those in the repair format, if you've done the batch import of several hundred cars, you're being able to view which ones are in estimate, which ones have been moved into work order, and how quickly your techs are getting them moved from work order to the invoice stage. It allows you to keep track. There is being some more refinements to this and getting it a little bit more thorough, but you have the repaired by tech, and it is supposed to have the estimated by. So you're going to be able to run all of that. Like I said, I didn't even know if this was going to pop up because this is being added to and worked on actively right now. But I did want to show you guys, it's a really neat report that we just got set up. So, okay, that's, we're about the 30-minute marker, it looks like. Oh, let me just read a couple of quick questions. Okay. Source functionality from Allied. Yes, that is some of what we are going to be working on. Like I said, this was really just kind of a basic reporting function that was done through Mobile Tech RX. But the larger and larger demands from you, our users, there's going to be a 10,000-fold update on reports. So payroll is going to run really pretty much stay the same. And yeah, you're still going to need those multiple screens for the payroll. And I'm going to walk back through them one last time really quick. But some much deeper reporting tools are going to be coming in, massively deeper. So we're in our back office portal on the website. Now, I do recommend doing this on some form of computer, whether it's a laptop or a desktop. And then in the tech pay portion is where we can record how much we wrote that check for. And say that it was paid. That allows us to then go into the tech pay in the reports section, and we can make sure and run those reports on only the unpaid invoices. So, all right. Well, Allied, I really appreciate you saying that. We really work hard. We're really trying hard to make sure that we are being on the cutting edge and covering everybody's issues. If you guys are having trouble with this, here we go. Let's throw this one last screen share up. I know this one's coming over from before, but with subcontractor, with tech pay, it's all pretty much the same. Please call that 888-626-6750. Extension 2 is the tech support guys. If they don't answer, please leave a message. Poke the callback button, but I hate callback buttons, so I always leave a voicemail. Just tell them that you need something. Actually, if you leave them a voicemail that gives your user email address and tell them that you're having problems with TechPay, they can have that found when they call you back to help speed you up. Otherwise, hit us up on the help@mobiletechrx.com and you can email in that any questions. Again, put your username, let them know what problem they're having, then they'll get with you guys and get it checked out. If you're having problems getting that pay set up on the tech, so any issues that you have, make sure you get a hold of those guys and do this. Can I separate my invoices from showing on my tech's account? No. The only way to hide the invoices from a tech would be as if they were never assigned that client. If they're assigned the client, they're going to be able to see those invoices, and they will always be able to run their own report on how much they've earned on all closed invoices. And that doesn't matter what permission levels you have your tech set at, basic, standard, or premier. They can run reports on what they've done. It's a way for technicians to keep track of their pay, know how they're doing week by week, day by day. So no, there's no way to separate your invoices, and definitely not open invoices, because any tech can add to the open invoice. But he should not be seeing any of your closed invoices. So if your tech, unless he is on there as recorded. So, but as max pay and assigned all clients, he can probably see all of the closed invoices, but he wouldn't be able to run reports on that. So, all right. Take care, everybody. I hope to see y'all next week. Have fun. Hope the year is going great for everybody. Bye, all.